Good afternoon. I'm going to see. Looks like I am the only one here so far. We're going to get going. This is our first live meeting for management theories. So I'm going to pull up, let's see, our classroom so that we can take a look at a few things here and discuss how we're going to do these meetings and what they are going to consist of. All right. Okay. So here is our splash screen for management theories. We have a 5-week class. My name is Holly Faust, and I know a lot of you already from some other classes throughout your time here at Remington. But I want to welcome you to management theories for this term. We're getting underway, and we will have 5 quick weeks that we will be going through. And one of the new components of some of the classes is this live meeting. So if you scroll down and you take a look, for instance, we are in this week of April 18th to 24th, you see this live session. If you click on the live session, it basically says that we are going to be getting into a quick meeting each week to discuss the tasks and other things that people might be interested in talking about. And if you come live to the meeting, then as soon as we're done with the meeting, I will go in and give you the points for having attended. If you're unable to make it to the meeting, then what happens is when these meetings are done, I turn them into a YouTube post and I will post the link back in the news forum. So usually I try to give everyone a couple of days heads up in the news forum as an invitation to come to the live meeting. And again, if you can make it, that's excellent. I love to have people here who I can talk to, and we can bounce ideas off of each other. We are a small class. If you look here, there's only 4 of you in here: Natasha, Bianca, Joshua, and Catherine, and myself. So we're a small class, and that makes it easy if you guys do come into the live meeting for us to actually talk to each other, because I can make sure that you have the ability to speak up. And if you have a microphone, then we can talk just like we are having a conversation. The meetings will last about 20 minutes, give or take. Depends on what's going on and how many people are here and if there are any questions. They're just supposed to be a quick time for you to be able to come in and have some time to discuss things with me if you have any questions. So, having said that, going back here to the post about the session, if you're unable to come into the live meeting, then you get to go out to the YouTube and listen to them if you would like. And if you provide a summary of about 300 words, that is a summary of what we talked about in the live session, then you will be able to earn the points that way. You will post that for Sunday of each week. So in order to get credit, you need to come in during the week and listen to the archived session through YouTube and then give a summary. Okay, so what are we going to do in these meetings? We are going to, I'm trying to get out of here. There we go. We are going to take a look at your discussion questions for the week, and we'll also take a look at your assignment. So again, the idea is for us to be able to look at what the discussion questions are asking, and for me to maybe give you a little bit of information that will help you kind of get excited about working through some of these questions, and then also to give you some hints and tips on how to do a great job with the assignment for the week. Now, also on top of the 2 discussions and the assignment, there is a quiz due. Now, all of this, the quiz and the assignment are due on Sunday. Your discussion boards are due Wednesday and Friday each week. And of course, the live session overview if you're not able to come live. That is due for Sunday as well. With the quizzes, I try to tell people that I think it is best to wait until later on in the week to do the quizzes. I think sometimes if you try to jump in early on during the week and get it done, it can cause a problem because you haven't done your reading, you haven't heard the live chat, you haven't really worked much on your discussions yet, and that can make it hard for you to really understand exactly what is on the quiz. So I think that it's better for you to spend some time doing the discussions and working on your assignment and doing some of the reading, and then you can go ahead and hopefully have an easier time with the quiz. Don't freak out about the quiz. Get on, do it. You have your book, your online book to help you. You have the internet to help you, and just take your time. I see people who go in and spend, 10 minutes in the quiz and then they wonder why the grade wasn't good. Legal questions can be tough in that sometimes when we're talking about something that has a legal take to it or has some sort of a theoretical take to it, it can be hard to read the question through once and totally get what's going on. So sometimes it takes reading the question a couple of times. With legal issues and management theories and complex business ideas, it doesn't always sink in the first time. So take your time, read the question. The answer to the question can turn on one or two words in the question itself. So just take it easy and take your time. Okay. Discuss the main advantages and disadvantages of the ideal type of bureaucracy as described by Weber. So you should be able to go in and do some reading. And if there's not enough that you see by Weber, you can go out and you can use the internet as well. People say to me, well, there wasn't all that much in the book. Well, here's the joy of that. The great news is you have the internet. And I promise you, every single topic that we look at over the next 5 weeks, there will be more information on the internet than you ever wanted or needed to know about the topic. Okay, so go ahead and jump out on the internet and get some information there. There's no problem with doing that. Okay, so don't hesitate. Now, when you have a question like this, make sure that you're meeting the minimum deliverable length. We want you to have at least 250 words. That's not very much. Sometimes people say, oh, that's a lot. It's really not that much. So please go ahead and make sure that you hit the minimum deliverable length. Make sure you use full sentences and that you get your full ideas out there. Don't just stop at 250 words and say, oh, close enough. Make sure that you are citing sources of research, even when you're talking about your opinion. Your opinions are based on things that you have learned along the way or read. And in an academic atmosphere, it's important that you are making sure that you cite good sources of research. So, in an academic setting, it's not just good enough to say, here's what my thoughts and ideas are. You need to actually make sure that you are citing some good academic sources to back up your thoughts and ideas. Okay? So make sure you do that. Another thing that I wanted to point out to you here, just something fairly new, is this link to the Writing Center. If you click on the link to the Writing Center, you are going to be able to enroll into the Writing Center, Writing Lab, so that you can go and get some help. You need to start with the self-enrollment and then you can go in. But that can be a really good resource for you when you are writing even your discussion board posts, but definitely for your papers. Okay? All right. So that is discussion board number 1, and that's also some information about where to find the writing lab. Okay, let's look at discussion number 2. What is the advantage to the student of management considering managerial roles rather than managerial functions in versus managerial functions? If you read through and think about this for a while, in other words, what kind of hats does a manager wear? I would contend that managers can be mentors, managers can be disciplinarians, managers can be trainers, managers can be negotiators, managers can be psychologists sometimes. Sometimes the manager has to jump in and find a common ground between a couple of employees that may not be seeing eye to eye, or sometimes managers have to go in and spend time with an employee who may be having some issues either inside the workplace or outside the workplace, but the manager, they can have a role as being a confidant for some employees. They feel close to their managers and want to talk to them about maybe things that are going on inside of work or even outside of work. So what kind of roles, what kind of hats do managers wear rather than just the functions? Managers, people say, well, managers, their job is to manage. Their job is to organize. Their job is to make sure that work gets done. Their job is to pass out work. Well, maybe. But like I said, really, if we look at the roles, the actions that they take, not just the functions, if we look at them being mentors and being disciplinarians if need be, being a friend or a psychologist, being a sounding board, being a negotiator, then I think that we start to look at managers more as people and not just the boss. Sometimes, when you just change up wording a little bit here and there, it makes you look at someone in a different light. Someone who is your boss makes it sound like someone who's going to look down on you, someone who's going to tell you, I'm up here and you're down there, and that's the way it's going to be. If we look at the manager as a mentor, as a trainer, as a confidant, and as an ally, then I think you start to have a different feeling about managers as people. So again, 250 words. You want to make sure that you are meeting at least that deliverable. And again, citing sources. All right. Last but not least, let's look at the assignment. Now, assignments are papers that are due once a week. They're always due on Sundays. It's important that you use APA formatting. Good APA formatting is a title page, and then it's the body of the paper, which is double spaced. But in that body, you should have an introduction to the topics, and then you should have your analysis and arguments, so to speak, about the topics. Then you should have a conclusion. Then you should always have a separate reference page with at least 2 APA well-formatted sources. Now it says you need to have at least one resource other than your textbook. So I'd like you to have 2 sources for each paper, at least one, if not more, that come from a source other than your textbook. Why is this happy? Why is this important, and why is this something that you should be doing? If you only use one source for a paper, basically what you're telling the reader is, okay, this one source that I used is the best source out there, the end all and be all of sources on this topic. And that may not be the case. If you don't go out and read at least a couple of different sources on the topics that you're writing about, how do you know if the person whose source you're reading really is an expert? Well, when you have a textbook, you make an assumption that if somebody has been paid to write a textbook, that they must pretty much be an authority on the topics. And that's true. However, everybody who writes will have their personality, their underlying opinion kind of come through the in the way that they write. And so looking at several different types of opinions on a topic will give you a very well-rounded point of view. You need a well-rounded point of view because if someone were to ever ask you, hey, where did your sources come from and how are you going to back up what you said? It's not going to look very good if you say, well, this is just my opinion. Well, what's your opinion based on? Or this came from one source. Well, okay, great. That came from one source. Guess what? I found another source that refutes what your source said. So if you have at least a few sources of research on every topic that you write about, you can feel good that you will be able to back up what you're saying with your sources. In other words, you're saying, hey, to the world, I have done my research. I've gone out. I've looked at this from several different angles and have gotten a few different people's take on it. And here's my take on it now that I have taken a look at what they have to say. Okay, so that's the reason that we want to have at least a couple of sources. All right, compare and contrast processes and content theories of motivation. In your answer, you should explain A, what a process theory of motivation is, and then what a content theory of motivation is, and B, list and describe 3 examples of each. So when you do your reading, you're going to find information on content theories of motivation and also process theories of motivation. I'm not going to spoon feed you the information, so you'll go out, do the reading, and again, if you feel that you'd like to know more about the topics, if you go out and do a quick Google search, content theory of motivation and process theories of motivation, you are going to see a lot of information bounce up in front of you on a screen. So go out, talk about these items, find at least 3 examples of each. Okay? 500 to 600 words. That is the minimum deliverable length. That is not including your title page and it's not including your reference page. We're talking about good content. 500 to 600 words, which really, if you use a 12-point Times New Roman font with a 1-inch margin, which is what APA calls for, and it's what Word automatically defaults to, 1-inch margins, 12-point Times New Roman font, you're looking at about 250 words or so on a double-spaced typewritten page. So a couple of pages, 2 to 3 pages, is going to get you sufficiently at the deliverable length and probably give you enough to cover the topics in the paper. Again, don't forget your title page. Don't forget your reference page. Okay? All right. So I think that pretty much gets us where we need to be for week number 1. Had some of you been in here with me, we could have discussed any questions that you have. You certainly can email me if you have questions. But again, just don't get pigeonholed into thinking that your textbook is the only source you have. You should be going out and doing internet research. Internet research can find you, like I said, more information than you ever wanted to know on any topic pretty easily. So go out, do some research, have fun with these topics. We've got some interesting topics that we're going to be talking about all term. And I look forward to seeing what you write in your discussion boards. I'm going to be going out and commenting to some of you. Each week I will comment to a few people in the discussion boards here and there and kind of keep motivating you to move along and answer each other and to communicate with each other. That's the beauty of these discussion boards that we're doing. It's all about you guys having a discussion on the topics that are interesting to everyone and making sure that we're keeping the conversation alive. So, having said that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for today. This will conclude our week 1 live meeting. We'll do this again next week. I try to change the days up sometimes. I try to do some days and some nights because I know some people work days, some people work nights. We've got people in different time zones. So just be on the lookout in the news form a couple of days ahead of time. I will link up an announcement, and you will get an invitation to the live meeting. And again, if you can make it, that's excellent. And if you can't, you can listen to it, do a summary and a synopsis, and earn the points that way as well. So, welcome to Management Theories class. I am glad to have you here this term. 5 weeks goes by very quickly, as you know, and we are going to keep moving right along. So, have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will be in and out of the chats or the discussion boards, and I'll look forward to reading your work. Take care. Bye-bye.